Some muscle cars get all the attention, but the rarest GM muscle cars are the real hidden gems. These beasts were built in tiny numbers, packed with big power, and are nearly impossible to find today. Let's take a look at the rarest and most legendary GM machines ever made. Number 15, 1989. Pontiac Turbo Trans Am, 20th anniversary. The 1989 Pontiac Turbo Trans Am 20th anniversary is one of the rarest performance cars ever built, with only 1,555 units produced. Even more exclusive are the 40 hardtops and just 3 convertibles, making them nearly impossible to find today. What makes this Trans Am truly special is its power. Pontiac took the legendary Buick 232 cubic inch turbocharged V6 and dropped it into a sleeker, more aerodynamic body, creating a car that outperformed some of the fastest sports cars of its time. This special edition Trans Am was chosen as the Indianapolis 500 pace car for 1989, and it wasn't just for show. It came with a Garrett iResearch T3 turbocharger, an intercooler mounted behind the radiator, and a sequential fuel injection system. Officially, Pontiac rated it at 250 horsepower at 4,400 revolutions per minute and 340 pound-feet of torque at 2,800 revolutions per minute. But real-world tests suggested the actual number was closer to 300 horsepower. With its 4-speed turbo-hydromatic T 200R4 automatic transmission and a launch-friendly 232 cubic inch V6, this car was seriously quick. On the drag strip, the Turbo Trans Am hit 0 to 60 miles per hour in 4.6 seconds and finished the quarter mile in 13.4 seconds at 101 miles per hour. Back in 1989, it was the fastest producing car sold in the United States, outpacing even exotic sports cars. With no speed limiter, it could push all the way to 153 miles per hour, a number unheard of for a Pontiac Trans Am at the time. To handle the speed, Pontiac gave it larger 11.9-inch front brake rotors with twin piston calipers, replacing the smaller 10.5-inch rotors found on regular models. The suspension was also upgraded with deflected disc gas-filled shocks, stiff coil springs, and thick anti-roll bars for stability. It rode on 16-inch aluminum wheels, wrapped in Goodyear Gatorback tires, delivering excellent grip. Lighter than a V8 Trans Am by about 100 pounds, this turbocharged version handled better and was quicker than anything Pontiac had ever built. Today, this special 20th anniversary Turbo Trans Am remains one of the greatest and rarest performance cars ever made. Number 14, 1986 Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS Aero Coupe. The 1986 Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS Aero Coupe is one of the rarest muscle cars of the 1980s, with only 200 ever built. Chevrolet designed it specifically for NASCAR, meaning they had to produce just enough road-going versions to meet racing requirements. This car was based on the regular Monte Carlo SS, but had one big difference: a panoramic fastback-style rear window that improved aerodynamics on high-speed tracks. This unique design made the 1986 model extremely special, as production in 1987 jumped to over 6,000, making the first-year version the hardest to find today. Even though the Aero Coupe looked more aggressive, it shared the same 305 cubic inch V8 engine with the standard SS. This small block Chevrolet V8 produced 180 horsepower and 225 pound-feet of torque, paired with a 4-speed automatic transmission. By the standards of the 1960s muscle cars, this wasn't a powerhouse, but back in 1986, it was still a strong performer. Plus, with its NASCAR roots, it had something those old muscle cars didn't: a body built for slicing through the air at high speeds. Chevrolet didn't just change the rear window and call it a day. The Aero Coupe came with a race-inspired rear spoiler, a performance axle, and the F41 sports suspension, which made it handle better than the regular Monte Carlo. It rolled on 15-inch alloy wheels wrapped in radial tires, giving it a more planted feel on the road. Inside, it had an upgraded gauge cluster with a tachometer, a sports steering wheel, and comfortable cloth bucket seats. Despite its performance focus, it was still well equipped with features like air conditioning, power steering, power brakes, power windows, power locks, a remote mirror, cruise control, tilt steering, and an AM/FM cassette player. Because Chevrolet only needed to build 200 of these for NASCAR homologation, they didn't make a single extra unit. That means if you own a 1986 Monte Carlo SS Aero Coupe, you have one of the most exclusive muscle cars of its time. While the 1987 model year saw a big jump in production, the 1986 version remains the true collector's piece, representing a time when NASCAR and street performance were closely connected. If you love watching the series of Rarest and other amazing cars, then do like and subscribe to the channel. Number 13, 1987, Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS Aero Coupe. The 1987 Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS Aero Coupe is a true collector's gem, with only 6,052 ever made. This was the second and final year of Aero Coupe production, making it much more common than the ultra-rare 1986 version, which had only 200 units. Chevrolet built this car to qualify for NASCAR, which required a certain number of street versions to be sold. The biggest change from the standard Monte Carlo SS was its huge sloped rear glass, designed to make the car more aerodynamic at high speeds. With this slick design, the Monte Carlo dominated on the track, winning 18 races that season compared to 14 the year before. At its heart, the Aero Coupe came with a 305 cubic inch V8 engine, also known as a 305 cubic inch small block V8. It produced 180 horsepower and 225 pound-feet of torque, paired with a 4-speed automatic transmission with overdrive. While not the fastest car of its time, it had plenty of muscle, capable of pushing speeds over 115 miles per hour. The body-on-frame construction made it tough, while the F41 heavy-duty suspension improved handling. It rolled on a 108-inch wheelbase, with disc brakes in the front and drum brakes in the rear to keep it under control. The Aero Coupe wasn't just about performance. It had plenty of style, too. The wraparound rear glass gave it a distinct fastback look, while a shorter trunk and rear spoiler helped with aerodynamics. Chevrolet moved production of the 1987 models from Arlington, Texas to Pontiac, Michigan, with the final touches being handled by Cars and Concepts in Brighton, Michigan. The 15-inch alloy wheels looked great, and the interior was just as impressive. Drivers got an upgraded gauge cluster with a tachometer, a sports steering wheel, and comfortable seating. It also came with modern conveniences like air conditioning, power steering, power brakes, power windows, power locks, cruise control, tilt steering, and an AM/FM cassette player. After 1987, the Aero Coupe was gone, and the Monte Carlo itself disappeared after 1988. It returned in 1995, but it was never the same. The Aero Coupe remains a rare piece of NASCAR history, built for speed but made for the streets. Number 12, 1985, Oldsmobile 442. The 1985 Oldsmobile 442 was a rare machine, with only 3,000 produced in its first year. Over the next 3 years, Oldsmobile made just over 10,000 of these performance cars before ending production in 1987. This was the last time a rear-wheel drive 442 rolled off the factory line, marking the end of an era. It was based on the Cutlass Salon Coupe, the most luxurious trim in the lineup, but Oldsmobile gave it extra muscle and aggressive styling to bring back the legendary 442 name. The 442 badge had a meaning. This time, it stood for a 4-speed automatic transmission, a 4-barrel carburetor, and dual exhausts. Power came from a 307 cubic inch V8, which delivered 180 horsepower and 245 pound-feet of torque. It was paired with a 4-speed automatic transmission and a 3.7 3-to-1 rear axle ratio for better acceleration. While it wasn't the fastest car of its time, Oldsmobile focused on making it a balanced machine with improved handling and a smooth ride. It featured a performance-tuned suspension and rolled on 15-inch chrome and gold wheels wrapped in Goodyear Eagle GT white letter performance tires. The 442 had a bold look that stood out from the crowd. Every car featured a silver metallic lower body separated by a gold accent stripe. In its first year, it was available in white, medium gray metallic, and black. Inside, the driver was treated to a leather-wrapped steering wheel, full-gauge cluster, and bucket seats. The car also had modern conveniences like power windows, a power seat, cruise control, tilt steering, a power antenna, and tinted glass. In 1986, production increased to 4,273 units, and new colors like dark teal, blue metallic, and burgundy metallic were introduced. The 1987 model, now based on the Cutlass Supreme, had 4,208 units built. The final models had updated composite headlamps and reshaped grills. By 1988, the rear-wheel drive Cutlass was gone, making the 442 a true classic, one of the last of its kind. Number 11, 1986, Pontiac Grand Prix 2+2. The 1986 Pontiac Grand Prix 2+2 is one of the rarest muscle cars of its time, with only 1,225 ever built. This limited production makes it a true collector's item, and finding one today in good condition is a rare sight. Pontiac designed this car to be a NASCAR-inspired street machine, similar to the Chevrolet Monte Carlo Aero Coupe, with a focus on aerodynamics and performance. However, despite its racing roots, it was not a big success in the market, making it even rarer today. At the heart of the Grand Prix, 2+2 was a 305 cubic inch LG4 V8, producing 180 horsepower and 245 pound-feet of torque. This was paired with a 4-speed automatic transmission, making it easy for any driver to enjoy. The car featured rear-wheel drive and could go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 9.3 seconds, with a top speed of 122 miles per hour. While it wasn't the fastest muscle car of the decade, it was built for stability and handling, especially at high speeds on oval tracks. Pontiac gave the 2+2 a bold and unique design. The car had a distinct fastback-style rear window, designed to improve aerodynamics for NASCAR racing. However, this feature had downsides, like making the trunk opening very small and causing heat buildup in the rear seats. Many dealerships struggled to sell these cars, as they were priced about $2,000 more than the Monte Carlo Aero Coupe, making it hard for them to move off the lot. In fact, most of them were sold at factory auctions, rather than directly to customers. Even though it wasn't a big hit when new, the Grand Prix 2+2 has become a fascinating piece of automotive history. It represents a time when car makers were still trying to bring racing technology to the streets. With such low production numbers and its NASCAR-inspired design, this Pontiac stands out as one of the rarest muscle cars of the 1980s, a true gem for collectors today. Number 10, 1983 to 84, Oldsmobile Hurst Olds. The 1983 to 1984. Oldsmobile Hurst Olds is a true collector's gem. Oldsmobile produced just 3,000 units in 1983 and increased production to 3,500 in 1984. This limited-run muscle car was built on the Cutlass Supreme, the last midsize Oldsmobile with the rear-wheel drive, making it the brand's final true muscle car of that era. Powering this special edition was a 307 cubic inch V8 engine, delivering 180 horsepower. It was not the fastest car of its time, but it had an impressive acceleration, reaching 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 8 seconds. What made it truly stand out was the Hurst Lightning Rod Shifter, a unique triple-lever setup. While it was an automatic transmission, these shifters allowed for manual gear selection of first and second gears, giving drivers a race-inspired feel. The Hurst Olds was not just about performance. It also had a bold and aggressive design. The 1983 model featured a black body with silver lower panels accented by red striping. In 1984, Oldsmobile flipped the colors, making the body silver with black lower panels while keeping the red accents. The car also had a special front air dam, a rear pedestal spoiler, and a bolt-on hood scoop, though the scoop was purely for looks and not functional. It rolled on 15-inch chrome superstock wheels, which had a classic Oldsmobile design similar to the 1969 Hurst Olds. These wheels had silver accents and a red pinstripe around the rim, matching the overall sporty look. The Hurst Olds also came fully loaded with features, including air conditioning, power brakes, power steering, a T-top roof, power windows and locks, cruise control, and a Delco cassette stereo. These additions made it not just a muscle car, but also a comfortable ride for everyday driving. With its limited production, powerful V8 engine, unique lightning rod shifter, and head-turning design, the 1983 to 1984 Oldsmobile Hurst Olds remains a rare and highly desirable piece of muscle car history. Number 9. 1980 Oldsmobile 442W30. The 1980 Oldsmobile W30 is one of the rarest muscle cars of its time, with only 886 units built. It was based on the Cutlass Calais notchback, but unlike other Cutlass models, it came with a 348 cubic inch V8 engine that was not available on any other version. This powerful Oldsmobile engine made the 442 stand out, as smaller engines like the 140 cubic inch V6 and the Chevrolet 183 cubic inch V8 were no longer an option. The 442 W30 had a sporty look with a gold accent paint scheme, and it was only available in black with gold or white with gold. Out of the total production, 540 were black, and 346 were white. The W30 badging on the front fenders, just above the side marker lights, gave the car a signature look. Unlike past models, the graphics were less aggressive, making it look cleaner but still bold. It had a painted grille face, aluminum sport wheels, body-colored tail lamp bezels, and rear window moldings. The 442 emblem was proudly displayed on the sail panel and deck lid, marking its place in Oldsmobile's performance lineup. This car was not just about looks. It came with the Rally suspension package, offering better handling and control. The Sport console added to the driver-focused experience, while the P205x70 R14 steel-belted radial tires with raised white letters gave it a classic muscle car stance. It even included a digital clock, a small but modern touch for the time. Priced at $6,919.57, this was a special edition package that could not be ordered in California. Today, it remains a rare and desirable piece of Oldsmobile history. The 1980 Oldsmobile 442 W30 was a unique combination of style, power, and exclusivity, making it a standout muscle car from its era. Number 8. 1984 Pontiac Fiero Indy Pace Car Edition. The 1984 Pontiac Fiero Indy Pace Car Edition is a rare and special piece of automotive history. Only 2,000 of these unique cars were ever built, making them highly collectible today. This was the first time a four-cylinder car had paced the Indianapolis 500 since a Stoddard Dayton did it in 1914, making it a significant milestone for Pontiac. Every Indy Fiero came in white paint with a distinctive aero body kit featuring front and rear fascias that would later be used on the 1985 Fiero GT. It had a sleek and futuristic design, capturing the spirit of a true performance car. All 2,000 production cars were powered by a 153 cubic inch four-cylinder engine, producing 92 horsepower. Buyers could choose between a 3-speed automatic transmission or a 4-speed manual transmission. Pontiac built a few prototype versions fitted with a periscope-style air intake, which rose up from the engine bay and curved over the roof. However, only the 3 actual pace cars used in the 1984 Indianapolis 500 had this feature. These official race cars were equipped with a 165 cubic inch Super Duty engine, which produced 232 horsepower and 210 pound-feet of torque. Pontiac's lead engineer, John Callies, was chosen to drive one of them during the event. The Fiero itself was a huge success in its first year, with sales surpassing 100,000 units. Though later models introduced upgrades like a more powerful V6 engine, 5-speed manual transmission, and improved suspension, the Indy Pace Car Edition remains a standout. Its unique design, connection to the legendary Indianapolis 500, and limited production make it one of the most desirable Fiero models ever made. With its striking white paint, bold aero styling, and racing heritage, the 1984 Pontiac Fiero Indy Pace Car Edition is a true collector's dream, an iconic car that represents a bold era in Pontiac's history. Number 7, 1989, Chevrolet Corvette. The 1989 Chevrolet Corvette was a true American sports car with 26,412 units produced. It carried the legacy of Corvette's high performance, sharp styling, and advanced technology. This model offered both coupe and convertible options, giving drivers the thrill of top-down cruising or the sleek appeal of a closed-body design with a removable roof panel for an open-air feel. Under the sleek fiberglass body, every Corvette came with a 348 cubic inch V8 engine with tuned port fuel injection, delivering 245 horsepower in the coupe and 240 horsepower in the convertible. The car introduced Moltec fuel injectors, setting the stage for future improvements. For the first time, a 6-speed manual transmission was offered at no extra cost, featuring computer-aided gear selection for smooth shifting. A 4-speed automatic transmission remained standard. Corvette's Bosch ABS2 anti-lock braking system provided incredible stopping power, adjusting brake pressure up to 15 times per second to keep the car stable under hard braking. The 4-wheel independent suspension featured fiberglass composite transverse springs, along with Delco Bilstein gas-charged shocks for a more precise ride. The Z51 performance handling package, available for the coupe, added heavy-duty suspension components, cooling upgrades, and a 3.5 4-to-1 rear axle ratio for a more track-focused experience. The aerodynamic body featured 17-inch cast aluminum wheels wrapped in Goodyear Eagle tires, retractable halogen headlamps, and a frameless rear hatch with multiple remote releases. Corvette's base coat clear coat paint system gave it a deep, lasting shine. The convertible version was built with aerodynamic styling, a manually operated top, and 3 color options: black, white, or saddle. Inside, the Corvette was both luxurious and driver-focused, featuring sport cloth bucket seats with optional leather seats and power-adjustable sport seats. The digital and analog instrument panels provided real-time driving data, while features like air conditioning, power windows, power door locks, power mirrors, and a tilt telescopic steering wheel made every drive comfortable. Corvette remained a racing icon, winning multiple championships and proving its dominance on the road. Number 6, 1987 Buick GNX. The Buick GNX is one of the rarest and most powerful cars of its time. Only 547 units were ever built in 1987, making it a true collector's item. This car wasn't just another muscle car, it was a game changer. Buick engineers had been working on turbocharging their V6 engine since 1982, and after years of improvements, they created the GNX, a car that shocked the entire industry. It came with a 232 cubic inch turbocharged V6 engine, producing an advertised 276 horsepower and a massive 360 pound-feet of torque. But real-world numbers were even higher, pushing well over 300 horsepower. The GNX was insanely fast, reaching 0 to 60 miles per hour in 4.7 seconds and running a quarter mile in 13.4 seconds at 104 miles per hour. That kind of speed made it quicker than a Ford Mustang GT, Chevrolet Camaro IROC Z, Chevrolet Corvette, and even the legendary Ferrari Testarossa. It could almost match a Porsche 911 Turbo in a straight line. This car was the ultimate version of the Buick Grand National, which started in 1984 with a turbocharged V6 engine. Over the years, horsepower kept increasing, from 200 in 1984 and 85 to 230 in 1986, and finally 240 in 1987. But the GNX took things to the next level, with an upgraded turbocharger, intercooler, better engine heads, improved exhaust, and a tougher suspension system. The GNX was not just about raw power. It had sequential fuel injection and a computer-controlled ignition, advanced technology for its time. It was expensive too, costing $29,000. But some owners reportedly paid off their cars by racing them. The GNX was only available for 1 year, making it one of the rarest and most sought-after muscle cars ever made. Today, it stands as a legend, an American icon that proved a V6 engine could dominate the streets. Number 5, 1983. Chevrolet Corvette. The 1983 Chevrolet Corvette is a car that never officially existed, yet it remains one of the most fascinating stories in Corvette history. A total of 43 prototype and pre-production cars were built, but none were sold to the public. All were eventually scrapped, except for one, which survives today and is proudly displayed at the National Corvette Museum in Bowling Green. This generation of Corvette, known as the C4, was originally intended for release in 1983, but delays pushed its official launch to 1984. That meant all Corvettes produced during this time were technically serialized as 1984 models, making the 1983 Corvette a ghost in the automotive world. This Corvette featured a brand new design that was a major leap forward. It introduced a frameless glass hatchback, offering improved storage access. Unlike earlier Corvettes that used fiberglass, this model was made with reaction-injected molding plastics and a sheet molding compound, giving it a more modern and aerodynamic look. Inside, the Corvette was packed with futuristic technology. It came standard with an electronic dashboard, featuring digital liquid crystal displays for speed and RPM, a bold step ahead of its time. The car also had all-new brakes with aluminum calipers, ensuring precise stopping power. When it finally launched as the 1984 Corvette, it was praised as the best-handling Corvette ever built. The engineers focused on performance and handling, making it a true sports car, though the ride was stiff, and the unit body frame led to rattles and squeaks. The deep door sills meant getting in and out felt more like climbing than stepping. The C4. Corvette came with a Doug Nash 4+3 transmission, a unique setup combining a 4-speed manual with an automatic overdrive on the top 3 gears. This gave the car solid acceleration while maintaining efficiency. Later, this was replaced with the modern 6-speed manual for even better performance. Though the 1983 Corvette never officially hit the streets, its design, technology, and innovations paved the way for the C4 generation, making it one of the rarest and most legendary Corvettes ever built. Number 4, 1985 Chevrolet Corvette. The 1985 Chevrolet Corvette was a game-changer in the world of sports cars. With a total of 39,729 units built, this model was all about performance, technology, and cutting-edge aerodynamics. Every single one was a coupe, designed to be both thrilling on the curves and comfortable for daily driving. Sleek, sharp, and wind-cutting. This Corvette had a drag coefficient of 0.323, making it the most aerodynamic Corvette up to that point. The design was refined in wind tunnels, with a 64-degree windshield rake and hidden headlights that flipped open at precisely 162.5 degrees. It had flush-mounted fog lamps, electrically adjustable twin sport mirrors, and a frameless rear hatch window, which not only looked modern but made loading cargo easier. The removable one-piece roof gave it a semi-convertible feel, paying homage to classic open-air sports cars. Inside, this Corvette was packed with advanced technology. The electronic dashboard featured liquid crystal displays, giving real-time updates on speed, engine revolutions, fuel consumption, trip mileage, oil pressure, oil temperature, and voltage. A built-in photoelectric sensor adjusted brightness automatically for day or night driving. The driver information system also alerted the driver about unfastened seatbelts, low brake pressure, open doors, or an activated parking brake. Even the anti-theft system reminded owners to lock their cars when leaving. The interior was all about high performance and comfort. Custom sport seats came with power-adjustable bolsters, lumbar support, and seat ventilation. The 6-way power-adjustable driver's seat allowed precise movement in 6 points: 5 inches forward and backward, 1.5 inches up and down, and customizable seat angles. Leather seat options added a touch of luxury, and the car's advanced paint system ensured a flawless, dust-free finish. Buyers could even choose a two-tone metallic color scheme, with options like silver over gray, blue over blue, or bronze over bronze. Fast, aerodynamic, and loaded with futuristic features, the 1985 Chevrolet Corvette set a new standard for American sports cars. Number 3, 1980, Pontiac Firebird Formula Turbo. The 1980 Pontiac Firebird Formula Turbo is one of the rarest second-generation Firebirds, with only 9,356 units ever made. While the Trans Am grabbed all the attention with its flashy looks, the Formula Turbo offered the same 300 cubic inch turbocharged V8 engine, but in a more refined and understated package. This particular formula is a true survivor, with only 68,244 original miles, making it a rare find from an era when performance cars were starting to fade. Finished in Tahoe blue, this car stands out for all the right reasons. Unlike the over-the-top styling of the Trans Am, the Formula Turbo keeps things clean and classy, with a power dome hood instead of the exaggerated scoops seen on other models. The original contrasting blue decals blend perfectly with the lower bodywork and the urethane nose cone, creating a subtle but aggressive look. The rear bumper and all the exterior details are in excellent shape, showing how well this car has been taken care of over the years. Inside, the blue cloth interior is completely original and well-preserved. The classic engine-turned dashboard, three-spoke steering wheel, and center console give it that performance look, while features like factory air conditioning, power windows, power locks, and T-tops make it feel luxurious and modern for its time. It even has an AM/FM cassette stereo, a rare option back then. The turbocharged V8 delivers 200 horsepower and 340 pounds of torque, making it a strong performer. The TH350 automatic transmission keeps the power flowing smoothly, and a Flowmaster exhaust system gives it a deep, throaty sound. This Formula Turbo is a rare piece of Pontiac history, built for true enthusiasts. Number 2, 1982, Chevrolet Corvette Collector's Edition. The 1982 Chevrolet Corvette Collector's Edition was a special send-off for the third-generation Corvette. Chevrolet built exactly 25,407 Corvettes that year, but only 1/4 of them were the exclusive Collector's Edition models. This car was not just another Corvette, it was a unique blend of style, technology, and exclusivity, designed to mark the end of an era. One of the biggest highlights of the Collector's Edition Corvette was the introduction of a frameless rear glass hatchback, a first for any Corvette. Unlike previous models with a fixed rear window, this feature made accessing the cargo area much easier. This design element would later become a standard feature on all Corvettes that followed. Chevrolet also made sure that this edition was hard to fake by adding unique identification plates, preventing people from turning standard models into knockoffs. The car came in a special silver beige metallic paint with shadow-like striping across the hood, fenders, and doors, giving it a sleek and distinctive look. It featured bronze-tinted glass T-tops, adding to its stylish appearance. The wheels were finned turbine alloy wheels, similar to those first seen on the legendary 1963 split-window Stingray. Inside, the Collector's Edition Corvette was just as special. The cabin was wrapped in silver beige leather upholstery, including the door panels and steering wheel. The steering wheel was hand-stitched in matching leather, including a special horn cap. The car also had cloisonné emblems, with a crossed flag logo on the hood that read Corvette Collector Edition, along with additional emblems on the rear deck and steering wheel. Powering this Collector's Edition Corvette was a 348 cubic inch L83 V8 engine with crossfire fuel injection, producing 200 horsepower. It was paired with a new automatic overdrive transmission, making it both powerful and smooth to drive. With its exclusive design, historical importance, and limited production, the 1982 Chevrolet Corvette Collector's Edition was more than just a car. It was a true farewell to an iconic generation and a glimpse into the future of the Corvette legacy. Number 1, 1981. Pontiac Firebird, Trans Am, NASCAR Turbo Special Edition. The 1981 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. NASCAR Turbo Special Edition was one of the last great muscle cars of its era. With just over 2,000 units built, this car was a special tribute to Pontiac's racing heritage. It was created to celebrate the brand's involvement in American motorsports, following in the footsteps of the 1980 Trans Am Indy pace car. Both models had nearly identical designs, featuring a bold black over white paint scheme and exclusive performance upgrades. Underneath its aggressive look, the 1981 NASCAR Edition Trans Am came with a 300 cubic inch turbocharged V8 engine. This motor delivered 210 horsepower and a strong 345 pound-feet of torque, making it a solid performer for the time. Power was sent to the rear wheels through a 3-speed automatic transmission, which was standard on this special edition. The turbocharged engine was not as large as the legendary 455 cubic inch V8 found in older Trans Ams, but it still provided an exciting driving experience. The exterior design was just as striking as its performance. This final year second-generation Firebird received an updated hood decal, giving it a fresh yet familiar look. Every Firebird from this year also featured an embossed silver Firebird decal on the fuel cap, which blended seamlessly with the rear taillights. On the special edition Trans Ams, this emblem was finished in gold, adding an extra touch of exclusivity. Pontiac also made some changes to its features and options in 1981. The G80 limited slip differential, which had been standard for nearly 10 years on all Trans Am models, was now an extra cost option. This was a sign of things to come as Pontiac prepared for the launch of the third-generation Firebird, where the G80 would no longer be included as a standard feature. This Trans Am NASCAR Turbo Special Edition was a rare and exciting send-off for the second-generation Firebird. With its bold styling, turbocharged power, and racing-inspired design, it remains a highly sought-after collector's car today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more amazing content.